notion of how can we use games to actually make people better, right? And there's, I think, a deep desire around being positive, and we correlate that with education because we think education is a positive thing to be doing. But bad stuff can also be highly educational.
Yeah, I mean, and I'd say, I guess I can speak to that for just 1 second. Yeah. Like, ethical exploration, I think, is one of the most interesting parts of that, right? So, if I'm going to have you play a game where you really explore ethics, right, that means you have to explore being bad. That's, I think, definitional, right? You're not really exploring ethics unless you have the possibility of sin or unethical action. That's a disturbing place for, I think, for ethical educators. The idea that you could actually explore, like, unethical behavior, right? Really, which I don't think games do. I frankly don't think games do a very pitiful job of looking at good and evil. They look at it very simplistically, I think, because they're scared. And even games that purport, like Bioshock, that purport to really explore ethical issues, like they trivialize and create dichotomies, like you were saying before. But not creating the dichotomy is really frightening, right? Are we actually going to create a situation like notice how there are no games about World War I, right? Why is that? Well, part is because World War I was awful, but I think another reason why is because there's no clear enemy, right? Who is the bad guy in World War I? Like, it's a big, awful mess of death and massacre. If you want to explore ethics, wonderful place to do it. Like whose side are you on? What side is right? When was the ethical action happening? But you start to do that, and you start poking into things where you're just basically asking people to explore being evil. And I think that's, I don't know, it's hard for me to think of other kinds of media that have asked that of people.
Tim, do you want to, I'm sorry,
yeah.
and then.
Yeah, first of all, it reminds me when you said that, I want to see a game called Castle Wolfowitz. But, someone go make that. All right. So what you said reminds me, again, going back to the analogy of books, how many people have read any of the Harry Potter books? Okay, so when you really think back to what's going on in the Harry Potter books, like, actually, a lot of decent literature, and the 7th book is great. It's the best one. What is the tension? What's the suspense? It's the same in Hitchcock films. It's all the question of shades of nuance, of is he going over the dark side? Is this the right ethical choice? Am I betraying my friends? Which is the right path? Every single little bit of gameplay that you experience when you read Harry Potter, the book, is completely about the question of what you're talking about. And so clearly people and kids just really want to go there. They're continually asking those questions. Of course, the book creates a safe place where it's not my real life, where I can have a sympathetic character and go there with him as he decides, you know, is it the good path, is it the bad path? And I'm completely convinced that as we mature enough so that games can get to where, you know, it's going to take a while to get up to, say, where J.K. Rowling is, or Tolkien, or Dostoevsky is a little beyond that, or Shakespeare is, you know, right, a little beyond it too. Even kids will go right there with us and they'll recognize these are the questions that their brains are structured to be working out, and they have a burning desire to practice it and play and get better at